Now, if you're anything like me and you've looked up the price of professional studio desks online, then I'm sorry you had to go through that. Thousands of dollars. And for my taste, the desks are just kind of bulky and outdated anyway. So I come up with a solution. I'm going to build my own custom music studio desk. About a week or two ago, FlexiSpot contacted me and asked if I'd like to try out one of their standing desks. Now, I never actually thought about using a standing desk for a music studio, but there's a lot that I really like about that idea. So I sent them an email back asking them if I could completely destroy their desk. Basically cut it up, demolish it, and turn it into something that's purpose-built for the music studio. And they said, that sounds like a great idea. This is going to be a huge project, so I'm going to be doing this across 2 separate videos. This is part 1, where we're going to have a look at the new desk. We need to tear my whole desk down, remove all the equipment, set everything up on the new desk as it is before I've touched anything. Then I have to take everything apart because I'm moving my entire studio in 2 weeks' time. That's where we're going to do part 2, which is going to be building the custom desk, using this brand new FlexiSpot E7 standing desk as the base. Okay, apparently, look at this. So organized. Damn, that's way heavier than I expected. The studio desk is the creative hub of the musician and composer, and it's the canvas of the producer. It's the bridge between your imagination and reality, the connection between the world inside your mind and the music that you bring into the world around us. Even these feet are like heavier than any desk I've ever had before. The leg actually goes into this slot instead of just screwing in. Like, you can see how solid that is. I'm impressed. Let's get this put together then. It might not seem like much of a big deal, but it's literally the one thing between your imagination and the software that you're using to create your music. You want your mind to be free so that you can just take your imagination, take the ideas from inside there and turn them into music. I just want to mention how good this cable tray is. Because of this gap along here, it makes it so easy to feed the cable through to the other side. And then I just do the same thing on this side. Take off this end, just slip the cable underneath and put it back on. It makes cable management so much easier. So here it is, the new studio desk ready to go. It can take up to 355 pounds. No matter what I do to this thing, it's definitely going to be able to take the weight, which means I have lots of options when I decide to customize this. Let's talk about the main feature here. So it's got arrows for up and down. Then it has a memory button, which you can use to set the memory for the 4 different positions. You can completely adjust all of these positions. I think for me, I'll probably only be using 2 of them. I've already set 2 of them up. I've got my sitting position, which you've just seen there, and then I press a button and it just raises up to my standing position. I've also mounted my power board upside down on the bottom of the desk. Everything's plugged into there. All of the cables run through the cable management tray. So I don't think you could get a cleaner look than this. There is something I'll be doing when I move this into the next studio, which is getting some kind of cable tubing just to wrap all of the cables for the PC in one tube. I'm actually really surprised that I haven't heard of FlexiSpot sooner. This brand is actually pretty well known over in the United States. The team were telling me that 2 out of every 3 standing desks sold in the US are actually from FlexiSpot, with this model, the E7, being their best-selling series. They gave me a few options. There was a smaller option with different colored tabletops, Or there was this option, which is the widest, longest one with the bamboo tabletop. Bamboo is actually harder than wood. So this thing is completely solid. And when you have all of this music gear on top of it, that's a very important thing. And of course, for the amount of stuff that I have on this desk, and because I'm going to be customizing it, I had to go for the bigger option. Now, the great thing about this desk is that it's actually at least 300 Australian dollars cheaper than FlexiSpot's nearest competitor. So not only is it really good quality, but it's also a really good price. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown of how I've laid out my desk and the gear that I've got right in front of me. First up, I've moved my MIDI keyboard off of the desk onto a keyboard stand behind me so that I could make room for my controller right in the center in front of my bottom screen here. This is a really important part of my workflow because the way I have my two screens set up, the top screen I use for all of my composing and production. The bottom screen is mainly for my mixing, and that is controlled by this controller. So this controller allows me to move forward and back through my tracks. I've got a fader, and then I have an entire EQ section as well. So if I open up the channel settings window, I can actually control all of my channel EQs from here. I can adjust gain, filter, and the Q value of the 4 different frequencies here. And that just gives me more of an analog feel, which I'm really trying to push more into. I'm trying to get away from always using keyboard and mouse with everything and trying to get more into a tactile kind of workflow with everything that I'm doing production-wise. One of the important things with the custom desk that I'm going to build is exactly this, the tactile kind of feedback. So I'm going to expand on this and get some more faders and more controllers to try and create much more of an analog workflow in my studio. I want to feel more like I'm interacting with instruments and less like I'm interacting with a mouse and keyboard all the time. Eventually, I'm going to be moving the keyboard from the stand behind me into a dedicated rack underneath the desk. And along with that, I also want to have some kind of shelf at the back of this desk here, where the screen will be sunken into the shelf a little bit, but then it's a shelf for the speakers to stand on and also just to hide some of the cables from the interfaces. So if you guys want to see that custom desk build come to life and get the plans for yourself, make sure you subscribe and turn notifications on, because that is going to be the next big project I'm working on. And if you're interested in getting one of these standing desks for yourself from FlexiSpot, I'll leave the link down in the description, which will also give you a slight discount on the desk. So until next time, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.